My dad and I found ourselves in one of those classic desperate times call for desperate measures situations. Our destination was Garden City, just a stone's throw away from the historic Savannah, Georgia. The plan? Spend a night in a motel that, at $50 a pop, seemed like it was practically giving rooms away. Skeptical? Absolutely. But sometimes you've got to take a gamble. Pulling into the parking lot, the place looked like something out of a horror movie. The lobby stood alone, isolated from the motel units like a forgotten relic. We exchanged glances, but our weary traveler's resolve urged us forward. With a cautious optimism, we checked in and were pointed towards what could only be described as an abandoned dormitory. The main door, or what was left of it, lay on the ground like a casualty of neglect. Stepping over the fallen barrier, we ascended the creaking stairs, each step echoing through the eerie silence. As we reached the top, a broken card reader greeted us, a grim harbinger of what lay ahead. A glance to the left revealed a window with a foreboding black X painted over it, sealing our fate in this twilight zone of a motel. Venturing deeper into the corridor, I couldn't shake the feeling of familiarity. It hit me like a ton of bricks. This was straight out of The Shining. The dimly lit hallways seemed to stretch on forever, punctuated only by the presence of two shadowy figures lurking in the corner. As soon as they spotted us, they melted into the darkness, leaving behind an unsettling chill. Finally arriving at our designated room, we hoped for a reprieve from the mounting unease. Instead, we were greeted by what could only be described as a glorified closet. The space barely accommodated a bed, the walls closing in like a suffocating embrace. The single bulb hanging from the ceiling cast a harsh, unyielding light, casting long shadows across the barren room. My dad, ever the pragmatist, lifted the corner of the blanket to inspect the bed. What he found sent a shudder down his spine. A massive, rusty brown stain seeped into the fabric. His expression said it all as he quickly dropped the blanket back into place, but my curiosity got the best of me. With a mixture of dread and determination, I lifted the blanket further, revealing a sight that could curdle the blood. A stain, larger than life itself, sprawled across the entire left side of the mattress. It was as if a crime scene had been preserved in the very fabric of the bed. In that moment, we shared a look of mutual horror, the unspoken understanding passing between us like a silent scream. Without a word, we sprinted out of that cursed room, the echoes of our footsteps mingling with the whispers of the forsaken motel. As we peeled out of the parking lot, leaving behind a cloud of dust and dread, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that clung to me like a shadow. My only regret? Not snapping a photo of that grotesque mattress, a chilling reminder of a night we'd rather forget. But in the end, perhaps it's better to leave such horrors in the past, buried beneath the layers of time and memory. The road stretched out before me, a ribbon of asphalt leading from my home in Grand Haven to the promise of Mackinac City. It was a bicycle tour I'd been planning for months, a solo adventure to clear my mind and push my limits. But little did I know that a night in Traverse City would leave a mark on me that I couldn't shake. Arriving at the hotel, a nondescript Days Inn that had recently changed hands to some country inn company, I was greeted with the weariness of a long day's ride. The check-in was uneventful, the room standard fare. But as the night crept in, so did an unsettling feeling. It was close to bedtime when I decided to indulge in a bit of forbidden pleasure, some adult entertainment on my trusty iPad. The room was dim, the curtains drawn shut against the world outside. The glow of the screen illuminated the space, casting shadows that danced along the walls. As I lay there, the remnants of the day's journey washing over me, I was startled by a sudden burst of light. A bright, electric blue flash that filled the room with an intensity that rivaled the sun itself. My heart lurched in my chest, a primal fear gripping me in its icy embrace. For a moment, I was frozen in place, the image seared into my retinas. But then, instinct kicked in. I sprang from the bed, the iPad slipping from my grasp as I tore the room apart in a frenzy. I searched every nook and cranny, every shadowed corner, for any sign of a camera, a hidden lens, a one-way mirror. The minutes stretched into an eternity as I frantically pulled at curtains, yanked mirrors from the walls, and overturned furniture in my desperate quest for answers. But the room remained stubbornly silent, its secrets hidden from my frantic gaze. Exhausted and terrified, I collapsed onto the bed, my heart still pounding in my chest. I could feel the weight of the unknown pressing down on me, a suffocating presence in the room. Despite my best efforts to rationalize, to convince myself it was a trick of the light or a figment of my imagination, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. In the end, I slept fitfully, the lights blazing overhead and my clothes still on. Every creak of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind outside, sent a shiver down my spine. The night passed in a haze of fear and uncertainty, and when morning finally came, I was eager to leave that haunted room behind. To this day, I have no explanation for the mysterious blue flash that haunted my night in Traverse City. Was it a trick of the mind, a glitch in the Matrix, or something more sinister lurking just beyond the edges of perception? I may never know. But one thing's for certain, I'll never look at a hotel room the same way again. The open road beckoned us forward, a promise of adventure and discovery stretching out before us as my mother and I embarked on our road trip to San Diego. It was a journey filled with excitement, yet shattered by my mother's ever-present paranoia about hotel rooms. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, we found ourselves in need of rest. A quaint bed and breakfast caught our eye, its charming facade promising respite from the road. Little did we know, darkness lurked within those inviting walls. Upon check-in with the older gentleman at the front desk, a chill ran down my spine at the unsettling glint in his eyes. Nevertheless, we proceeded to our room, the cozy ambience masking the ominous undercurrent that seemed to hum through the air. My mother, always vigilant, launched into her routine with a sense of urgency. First, she meticulously inspected the restroom, her eyes scanning for any hint of hidden surveillance. Finding it clear, she moved on to the fire detectors, her fingers tracing their edges for signs of tampering. It was when she reached the final step of her ritual, the mirror test, that the air seemed to grow heavy with foreboding. With a sullen hush, she extinguished all light in the room, save for the beam of a flashlight directed at the mirrors. And there, in the dim glow, we saw it. A small room, no larger than a closet, stared back at us from the depths of the mirror. Its emptiness held a haunting weight, a silent testament to hidden secrets. My mother's breath caught in her throat, her eyes widening in horror. Without a word, we sprang into action, our movements frantic as we packed our belongings. Fear gripped us tightly in its icy fingers, urging us to flee from whatever malevolence lurked within those mirrored walls. We left the room in haste, not daring to confront the enigmatic man at the front desk. The night air was cool as we huddled together in the car, seeking solace from the unsettling events of the evening. Sleep eluded us, the memory of that eerie room haunting our thoughts. What unseen horrors lay concealed behind those innocent-looking mirrors? To this day, the memory of that bed and breakfast lingers in my mind like a ghostly whisper. Its facade of charm belied a darkness that we were fortunate to escape. And I can't help but wonder, what other secrets lie hidden in the shadows of that forsaken place?